Hi everyone, Cyberpunk is back, now with the top best cars in Cyberpunk 2077 game. As before, I will evaluate cars based on their exterior and interior quality, their acceleration, the top speed, first-person view, their driving factor, and how fun they are, and I will throw one bonus point for outstanding features. So now let's see the best cars in the game. And opening the list of the best cars in Cyberpunk 2077 is Villefort Alvarado V4F Delegate, which is another business class sedan, much like its cheaper cousin Cortez V4000 Valor. But unlike its cheaper cousin, look at this guy. Two front axles, very aggressive front end, look at this Villefort badge on the side, and inside looks just spectacular with all these buttons and lots of options inside. Check out the wood panels and also leather stitching. This is very comfortable car to drive in or to be driven in. Overall, I give it a 9 for exterior and interior quality. Acceleration is rather slow at 13.6 seconds, it gets 7 points. With a top speed of 152, it gets a 7. This is the first car in which driving is painfully bad. Driving inside you can barely see the ground before you, so it gets only 4 for that. Driving control is decent though, so it gets 7. It's not much fun in this car driving around, so it gets only a 5. But for two front axles and backward opening doors, it gets a bonus point to a total of 37. Brennan Apollo bike. Looks just like a bike you would use for delivering pizza. There's really not much anything you can say about it. So it gets only 5 for interior and exterior quality. Acceleration is decent, 7.9 seconds, for which it gets an 8. However, the top speed isn't that high. It's only 138, so it gets a 6. The visibility is decent, but I tell you, because of that shield, at night you don't see anything in front of you, so it gets only a 6. The driving is excellent, so it gets full 10. Not much fun on this bike. Like I said, if you're delivering pizza it's fine, but overall it gets a 6. To a total of 37. Quadra Type 66 Gen Rowley. Looks pretty cool. Looks just like a muscle car from present day, with its aggressive front and back and all this hood air intake. Looks pretty techy inside too. It gets a 7 for interior and exterior quality. With its very fast acceleration of 5.3 seconds, it gets 9. The top speed is high as well, 182, for which it gets an 8. Visibility inside is not very good because of that air intake up front, so it gets 6. Driving control is decent, and it gets a 7 for that. This is a pretty good car to drive around, so I give it a 7 for fun and cool factor. So the total score is 40. Quadra Type 66 Javelina is yet another nomad car for driving in deserts. This one looks pretty awesome. Just as good as the rest of them, with its aggressive front end, smart glass, and very technical inside. Give it a 7 for interior-exterior quality. This car is very quick to accelerate, 4.9 seconds, for which it gets a 9. And also it's very fast. At 190 miles per hour it gets a 9. However, the visibility inside is very poor, so I give it only a 4. The driving control is okay, but at the fast speeds not very stable, so I give it 6. I say this is a pretty cool car, and I give it an 8 for fun and cool factor. And for smart glass and cool exhaust pipes on the top, I give it 1 bonus point, for a total of 41. Quadra Turbo-R 740 is a pretty expensive sport car, but just look at that. It has awesome tail lights and awesome color. Look, even the discs are colored. The inside is fairly decent, and for exterior and interior it gets an 8. This one is fast to accelerate to 100, and it gets a 9 for that. The top speed is 176, 8 points. Check out that speedometer on the roof panel. But the visibility inside is limited, so it gets only 6 points. Driving is decent, however unstable at high speeds, so it gets a 6. But I say this is a very cool car, so it gets 8 for that. And for the speedometer on the rooftop panel, plus 1 point, and the total is 41. Mizutani Shion MZ2 is another sport-looking car. It's pretty cool outside, but nothing really special. Only its sporty shape. Inside is also very good, actually. So I give it a 7 for interior and exterior. This one is also very fast to accelerate, so it gets 9. The top speed is 185, and 8 points for that. The visibility inside is limited due to the narrow windshield, so it gets 6 points for that. But the control while driving is very good, so it gets 8. It gets 7 for fun and cool factor. And I do like the cool door locking mechanism sound. Just take a listen to that. For this it gets an extra point, to a total of 42. Quadra Type 66 Avenger looks like a very aggressive muscle car, akin to a Ford Mustang from present day era. With its very slick silver paint, looks very cool. The inside is very decent too, so it gets an 8 for exterior and interior. Very fast acceleration, 9 points for that. Top speed is 189, so 9 points. Due to the narrow windshield, it gets only 6 for first-person view. The driving control is good but not great, so it gets a 6. But it is a fun car, it's very cool, so it gets an 8 for that. And 1 bonus points for this awesome looking brake light, to a total score of 43. Mizutani Shion Coyote is the most techy looking desert car. It has a spoiler, it has a bunch of electronics on the front end. Just look at all that. The inside contains a lot of electronic parts as well. I give it a 7 for interior and exterior. This car is extremely fast to accelerate, 5.4 seconds, so it gets 9 points. This is second fastest car in the game, so it gets 10 points for the top speed. The visibility is limited due to narrow windshield, so it gets a 6. Driving control is fine, considering the speed, so it gets an 8. I say this is a very cool car, so it gets a 7 for that. And with a smart glass, it gets 1 extra points to a total of 44. And I open top 5 best vehicles in the game with Yaiba Kusanagi CT3X, which is an awesome looking bike. As far as the bikes go, I give it a 9 for exterior and interior quality. It's fairly quick to accelerate, at 6.6 seconds, get 9 points. The top speed is high, 189, and 8 points for this. Visibility is decent, but I'm afraid this windshield may give you troubles at night, so it gets 9 points. The control while driving is spectacular, so it gets 10. And I say this is a very fun and cool bike, so I give it 9. Its total score is 48. At number 4, Arch Nazare. At $138,000, it is an awesome looking bike. Look at this arch pillar and look at those wheels. As far as bikes go, this one gets 9 for interior and exterior quality. Accelerating in 5.1 seconds, it gets 9 points. With a top speed of 178, it gets 8 points. The visibility is spectacular. This is at 10 points for how well it is to drive first-person view. Driving is awesome, so 10 points for that. And I give it a 9 for fun and cool factor, with a total score of 48. At number 3 is the most expensive car in the game, Rayfield Aerondight Guinevere, and this car looks just astonishing. Just look at all these curves, look at the paint, look at the Rayfield badge. A very interesting feature of this car. Once the door is open, it reveals a small compartment for a briefcase. Would you look at that? The interior is spectacular. Just look at the quality of everything inside. This is a truly ultra-luxury vehicle. It has 10 points for interior and exterior quality. Being a heavy and large car, it isn't as bad in accelerating. Get 9 points for that. With a top speed of 187, it gets 8 points. Unfortunately, it is very difficult to drive it inside, so I give it a 5 points for that. However, the controls while driving are good, so it gets a 9. And I say, full 10 points for fun and cool factor for this vehicle. And for the smart glass and that automatic spoiler on the back, and this briefcase compartment, this one gets another bonus point for a total score of 48. The second best car in the game is Hererra Outlaw GTS. And just check it out, how sleek and silver it is. Check out the backlight. Check out its wheels, it looks just amazing with this unique front grille and matching backlights. Inside, everything looks like in a super expensive sport car. You have panoramic sunroof on the back, you have leather stitching, and the quality is just amazing. I give it a 10 point for exterior and interior quality. This car is fast to accelerate, and it gets 9 points for that. It's also very quick. At 185 it gets 8 points. Decent view while driving inside, so it gets 7. This car is very easy to handle, even at high speeds, so it gets 10 points for driving. For fun and cool factor, I give it a 9. And for these awesome grills in the back and the front and the panoramic roof, I give it 1 extra bonus point, to a total score of 49. Which brings us to the best car in the game, Rayfield Caliburn. This one looks just amazing. Looks more like a hypercar of modern days, something like a Bugatti. With a smart glass and this very slick shape, number 77 may indicate that there are some limited number of cars produced, and this one is at the number 77. As expected, the interior is just spectacular. This middle arch dividing 2 passengers reminds me of actually Bugatti. Gets 10 points for exterior and interior quality. This is the fastest accelerating car in the game, so it gets 10 points for acceleration. It also is the fastest, gets 10 points for the top speed. Visibility inside isn't that great. I give it 6 points for that. Control while driving is very good. However, it's a little shaky at the high speed. Oops, that's why you have insurance. Hey, would you look at that? Can your car do that? Huh. 9 points for that, huh? This is a very fun and cool car, so I give it a full 10. And for automatic spoiler, for the number 77 and the smart glass, it gets 1 extra point for a total score of 52. I hope you liked it. I know the system isn't perfect, but it's for entertainment purposes only. I'm gonna do more car reviews in the future. This is Cyberpunk signing off. Come back for more.